Well, I'm back. The last video I did was the second part of the end, living in the end times. That's the last one I did just a little while ago. I ate my snack, and anyway, this is my starting again on my life series, my life, and I think I will revisit, um, talk about my first love again. I thought about that most of the evening of what I would say on this one concerning him. Um, Things that will help other women, especially when you're young. Even in your 20s, you know, late teens, 20s, things like that. One thing you don't do is always take other friends or people with you on a date. And that was one of the problems. Of course, I didn't understand that back then. Just being real young like that, I didn't understand it. But most of the time, I either had one of my girlfriends or both, or I had a little neighbor girl with me and him a lot. He worked during the week, and he didn't make a whole lot of money. I mean, he had other bills he had to pay, like car insurance and gas. He had to drive, um, let's see, about 17 miles to Mattoon, and he didn't have much money. And of course, when we had other people with us, of course, he had to pay for their food and things too. And I didn't realize that, and I just remembered that just came to me today. Um, the second time that we broke up, the second time, and he didn't come back. Well, um, he had called me, and he said he couldn't make it down that weekend. And I said, well, why not? He said, well, I don't have the money. Well, we said a few things back and forth, and he said, well, I'll see you this next weekend. And of course, he told me he loved me. And I said, well, you will if I'm here. You will if I'm here. And anyway, I should have never said that. I shouldn't have never said that to him. And Mother even told me too. She said, Gloria, she said, the boy's trying to work, and pay for his car, and everything too, and he doesn't have the money to pay for other people's food and stuff. And it just didn't dawn on me. So that's good advice to tell other women out there. When you go on a date, with your boyfriend or whatever, don't take friends with you, because if you eat out, then he's expected to pay, and but that's one of the things that came to me earlier today. But he didn't come back. And then in the meantime, then he was called to service, and I wrote him letters. Like I said, I think on one other video, I wrote him letters, and his mother evidently didn't send them to him. I don't guess she didn't send them to him. I think she told my mother. I think they talked. Of course, they talked an awful lot. They talked a lot, and I think she told him that she didn't see any use of sending him the letters, being that we had already broke up, or something to that effect. And there was a whole lot of things that happened that, again, that shouldn't have happened. I mean, wrong mistakes, and my behavior back then. I was just a young, silly, acting teenage girl, and and he was one that wouldn't come out and say things because he didn't want to hurt my feelings, I guess, and of course, he was old enough. I mean, he could get out and go, and he had a car. He could drive around, which he did. He drove around in Tuscola and Newman and all that. And, you know, you know, I don't know, you know. But again, there's just so many things that I don't know. And I just, maybe someday he will know, you know, maybe we'll talk someday, maybe, or something, you know. That goes back to what I had said before, you know, about getting things said, getting things all out in the open. Whether it's painful to do, you know, painful to admit when you're wrong, things that he did or I did or whatever that we shouldn't have done, you know, even though we were young, you know, it's wrong to keep things inside. I was not cheating on him, no. Maybe he went out on me. Maybe he feels embarrassed. Maybe he felt embarrassed about it. Maybe that's when he met the woman that he married. I don't know. I don't know. I don't hardly think so. I do know that he wrote me letters when we were together. I mean, he wrote how many letters, and I wrote letters to him too, of course. You know, before he went to the service, we wrote back and forth. Of course, not after we broke up. We didn't, of course. I mean, but anyway, I kept his letters. I don't know. I had probably maybe 30 or 40 letters that he wrote. Well, after I had remarried again, you know, to my daughter's father, when I remarried him, I would get, sometimes we'd get to drinking, you know, and then I would get all of his letters out and read them. And one time, I took the engagement ring that I had, and I threw it out. I just threw it out the window of the car. I just threw it out, you know. And then another time, I just burned all. I tore all these letters up. I just tore them up. Mother says, "Why put yourself through that pain of reading his letters over and over and over?" And I said, "But I know he loved me, Mother. I know he loved me." She said, "Yes, he did. He did. I know he did." She said, "I know he did." And she said, "Maybe someday you'll find out what really happened. Maybe someday you will, you know. And if by some chance he happens to see this video or whatever, I will tell you I am sorry on my part for being snippy with you on the phone that day." That's funny how I can remember way back. Shoot, that was way back in 1969. You know, and I remember so much of way back then. I remember. I have a very good memory, you know, happy memories too, you know. But I'm terribly sorry, and taking Trudy and Nancy, you know, and Joyce Bushu, taking them all the time with us. That I shouldn't have done that. We did have some time to ourselves. We had times to ourselves too, where we talked a lot. We talked a lot, you know. And but I'll be getting into more of that. But I'm going to be getting into a lot of other things too. A lot of other things that has bothered me through a lot of years too. A lot of other things. But again, I just want to say again that I am sorry. Even though it's been all these years, I am sorry. And I just wanted to tell you that. And I did love you. I did love you. In fact, it carried over to into my relationship and my marriage to my daughter's father. You know, and for a lot of years, and then I finally had to just let it go. You know, because you had already married and you had a family, you know, and everything. I did some stupid stuff. Again, I did stupid stuff. So anyway, but I'll just drop the subject on that. It's up to 9 minutes and 32 seconds. But I wanted to get in on that subject again. And I'll probably be talking about it again later on at a later date. I'll be talking about it again. But I'll say this again. I was too young. I was just too young. And you were too. I guess you hadn't sold all your wild oats, I guess. You just hadn't sold your wild oats and everything. So, anyway, we're up to 10 minutes now. So, anyway, I'm glad everyone, welcome to my channel again, and so just pray for me. Just pray for me, okay? And like I said, there'll be a lot of things that I have to say. I have to get things said, you know, and I feel that the Lord wants me to. But I'll never forget my mother telling me. She said, maybe someday, Gloria, maybe someday, maybe I won't be here to see it, but maybe someday you and him will talk. Maybe you and him will talk and get things out, you know, and just stay friends. Just stay good. Just stay friends, you know, and everything. So, all right. Well, it's been almost 11 minutes now. So again, God bless you. Welcome to my channel. You're always welcome to my channel. And again, we don't have to feel lonely. We don't have to be lonely and not thinking that we don't have anything to offer anybody, you know, and that's not true. Yeah, it's not true. So, alrighty, it's over 11 minutes. So I'm going to get off of here now. So, God bless you. Okay. Good night. Okay. Bye-bye. Good night.